Yo, what up? And welcome back to Grizz 901. Wayne coming out hot. I must be back because we lost the game. Listen, I wasn't supposed to be here. More on that a little bit later on. But I am here. I'm just going to be here for the first half of the show. I have some other things that I will be attending to. Mainly it will be sleep, but it will be reasons on that. And so I will share that right away. But none of you care about that. The Grizzlies lose 110-98 behind a game where we saw a lot of G League players mainly. It was all that, but there's so much more we want to get into. And so I believe Chris will be joining us here shortly. He'll be here within the show. He might pick up where I leave off, but as you know, we have to have so much fun on the show. But I hope you're tuned in because we're going to talk about the show just in general because of what we have to discuss within these players. What the good, but also the bad, because I do have some thoughts on that. And then the second half, we're going to get into the Grizz trivia before I really pass off the show to these two knuckleheads. But you know how it is. Let's get to it, baby. Chris is here. That is all messed up. Why did it go to that?
I fixed it, Dad. Don't worry. Welcome home from your trip where you were clearly having too much to drink in the mountains by yourself. King Niche remembers last night. You were in the comments trying to turn this away from being a family show is what you were doing last night.
Listen,
Daniel.
I was not naked last night in the bed. I wish I would have been. But I was fully clothed. But that's it. Listen, the Grizzlies, they end up losing and 110-98 to the Charlotte Hornets. But it was a game that all of us could just quickly forget, and as the Black Ninja DJ says, is 20 turnovers. Yikes! That was gross. But tonight we have a good show. We have Chris on here, and I'm gonna be here for the first half of the show. We're gonna hit on Grizz trivia, and then I'm gonna step away and let these two guys kind of battle it out and discuss some things. But as Nate is popping bottles, man, I love it.
Just like that Grizzlies
ranch water.
Was hard to watch.
Boring.
Ranch water hard seltzer. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I love these things. I drink enough straight whiskey on the show. I'm not ashamed of it either, so we're good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Drunks.
So, Chris, welcome to the show, man. Let's let you
What's
come
up?
off the top rope. Off the top, just your thoughts on the game, just in general.
Man, it was god awful to start. I started to text Nate and he beat me to it. I started to text him probably like a little bit after the first quarter, like, "Hey, bro, if you want to cancel the show, I mean, I ain't mad at you. Just let me know. I'm cool." But shout out to them dudes for actually making it a game at the end, man. We got close. Shout out to my boy GG. He did his thing, making some timely buckets, whatever. Just reinforcements on the way. I don't care either way. Like was sick of the back of whatever.
Yeah, listen, it was gross. Nate, off the top, anything for you that you loved, hate it, just in general?
I hated the game. I loved
Okay.
the fourth quarter buzzer sounding. I loved seeing Desmond Bain on the bench and the Grizzlies PR updates. I hated all the Wenyen Gabriel minutes. Dude, we were so mad at Biz not catching the ball. It's like Wenyen Gabriel does all the hard work he can possibly do to get a rebound, but he just can't catch it. Yeah. It's like, man, it's brutal. Yeah, that game was just brutal. Honestly, the one thing I loved was the reminder that we're not the Charlotte Hornets or the Washington Wizards, because the Wizards Hornets winning that game by 12 is pitiful.
Yeah.
As bad as the Grizzlies played tonight. That's pitiful. And we always talk about it could always be worse. I don't know about anybody else on here. I don't have Bally's anymore. I have League Pass, which, I mean, let's get rid of the LED courts until we can fix League Pass, please. Adam Silver's NBA is just going and spiraling in flames. But part of what I do love about League Pass is I get to watch the halftime shows.
How was it tonight?
I think our boy NLE Choppa went over 35 in 5 minutes. He put up every shot, and he didn't. I don't think he made
which team won? It was a celebrity game tonight.
Oh, dude, Zebo's team destroyed Tony's team. It was bad. I'm telling you, it's like you sitting there like, man, these guys can't make anything. Trust me. Watching that halftime show remind you, we do at least have good basketball players Maybe they're not NBA level, but
For sure.
I did love League Pass. I love the League Pass halftime shows, as bad as
Okay.
League Pass is in the fourth quarter when it matters. Halftime show is great, so
Yeah.
that's always fun.
Well, tonight, listen, it was I'm over the Wenyen Gabriel thing, and I said that I think it was in our group chat whenever Sane put it out there that he was expected to join the team. I don't love it. I don't see a need for it. I do understand that they need some size, but Wenyen Gabriel has never been good, and I would rather see this team play small and play with, more stretch, guys that could be, Jake LaRavia minutes, which I would hate to say that. But just in general, I'd rather see Jake LaRavia and playing small and playing, through Trey Jamison at times and giving him maybe more minutes. So if everybody, ticked up just 2 extra minutes across, 5 people, I think that would cover, realistically 10 minutes. And then you can kind of, move those other minutes around. I just don't see he's a need. He's not guarding defensively, their bigs. It's really always our big of Trey Jamison, or it is Santi just in general. But the other thing that I saw, and I'm going to end on a positive, and that is Scottie Pippen Jr. Scottie Pippen Jr. has been great. He's looked well, and he's a guy that I continue to see a real path to him being a backup. He might be the backup to the backup. It's okay to be the assistant to the assistant. That's fine. Sometimes you become the assistant. And so I hope it works out for him. But in front of his dad tonight, getting that dunk, that was clutch. Got to make a daddy proud. But yeah, as Blackney DJ says, Scotty looked good in his first game back. All right, but let's get into a little bit more. I want to ask about Gigi. Chris, I'm going to come to you on this one. Gigi Jackson tonight, 26 points, 4 rebounds, 0 assists because he normally doesn't pass the ball, but he did go 6 of 12 from deep. But Gigi tonight, and I wouldn't pass the ball either if I saw the guys on my team that he usually sees. But Gigi going 6 of 12, but also Luke Kennard going 4 of 8. Good shooting night out of them. You can include Judy in that, 3 of 5. The rest of the team, meh. But Gigi tonight, is there anything that you're seeing in him that when the team is fully healthy, what are we getting back to? Like whenever he's on the court, hopefully surrounded by good NBA players, not just hustle players. Like, are you seeing the good things that we should be seeing within Gigi and his game, just kind of growing?
I mean, to me, this is my assessment. It looked like Taylor Jenkins and staff, like they slowly starting to release him a little bit, if that makes sense. Like they not keeping him in that role like they were when he and Vince first started to get playing time, where it was literally like he talked about. Anthony Carter told him to do 2 things: either you catch the ball and shoot it, or you catch the ball and you drive. Well, he's starting to do a little bit more with it, and you can tell like everybody know Gigi got talent. It's just one of those things where like the more and more you take the leash away from him, you'll start to see more. It's almost like Jake. And that's why like a lot of people saying like they love him what they're seeing from Jake. Well, Jake is literally allowed to mess up at this point because they trying to wring towel out with him to see what they got. So with Gigi, it's one of those things to where whenever he gets to that point, his confidence is there. Like he's making mistakes. He's 19. He gonna do what he gonna do as far as that regard. But when he get with the big team, I think you'll see more of what he was doing when he first started to play, which is catch and shoot or catch and drive. Same thing with Vince. Like unless they put him more in that off ball or on ball role, like with the second unit, I think you start to see him just kind of go back to what he was doing, which is it contributed to win. So I ain't mad at it either way.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think Gigi is playing well enough, but you can see he's kind of lost out there with these guys. And listen, I would be too, because most of these guys have never played well together. And so that's what I attribute to all this. But your thoughts on Gigi, Nate?
There's no space.
There is none.
It's like he can pass to me in the corner and might have a better chance of getting space, man. Like there's no space. Right. And so when he gets playing with the rest of the roster, he's going to be able to catch the ball in the corner, have a wide open 3, or he's going to be able to have back cuts, or they're going to close out on him, and he's going to be able to take it to the rim. And then you're passing it to John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, Brandon Clark, Marcus. Like, these are all the names. It's crazy how many names I have to say he can throw it to instead of who he has right now. And so right now you see him, he's trying to take guys off the dribble. He's learning to do that better. He's learning how to get that flow of the game. There's nowhere for him to dribble. There's nowhere for him to go, right? It's always 3 guys in the paint. So it'll be interesting once you get Desmond Bane back. Brandon Clark back as well. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what that opens up for him when guys have to guard other guys and they can't just collapse on him in the paint. And so he just has no space right now, but he still shoots 50% from three tonight, just under 50% from the floor. I mean, and by the way, he's not Santi. He'll hand it off or something. He'll pass it. It's just like there's no one to pass to when he's driving. I don't know what you want him to do. So I feel really good about Gigi. I think he continues to progress really, really well. The only concern is can that 3-point shooting get more consistent, but he's still shooting really, really well. And again, he's doing it with zero space to operate. So you can't be more happy about what you're seeing from Gigi, especially considering what was supposed to happen this year with him. It's been awesome.
Well, as the Black Ninja DJ is saying, he's starting to really understand the spots. Like, and as you learn, as any basketball level, you learn what are the spots that you feel the most comfortable within your shot. Whether it is, that if it is the perimeter three on the wing three, or if it is a corner three, or if it is the elbow of the lane, like where is that spot for you? And so I'm starting to see that with him. He's starting to find those spots, and he's starting to be more on that perimeter, and it falls down to the corner a little bit, and that's where he's kind of flourished from. And as King Meeks is saying, sixth man of the year next year, listen, I'm not saying that's impossible because the way they vote on this stuff, it just is so stupid. But I do think that there's a possibility if he does grow, just kind of unleashes himself, because he's going to have those backdoor cuts that Zaire had, right? If we're seeing if Zaire can be that, if Zaire can be good in that role, Gigi can flourish. Okay, let's just be completely honest, because Zaire is not good. All right, but let's go to the other guy I want to talk about, and this is going to be Chris's favorite guy, and that's going to be Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard, 17 points, 4 of 8 from deep tonight, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Put one out there and pour one out for the white guys. Luke Kennard here. Chris, what's your thoughts on him?
He's just so damn inconsistent. It's getting on my nerves, man. Golly, when you got a team full of guys, Luke being able to just shoot, just shoot. It's gonna be great if it happens. Yeah. It's just so inconsistent, man. He got potential. It's the same thing we say about a lot of guys on this team. It just irritates the hell out of you that he just will not tap into that potential, and especially with this time. Like, same thing we talk about with Santi all the time. I hear y'all talk about it. I talk about it as well. Like, this is prime opportunity, bro, for you to show your whole bag. Yeah. And he the last few games he's been doing some passing, and playmaking and things like that. But bro, you are a shooter. Yeah. Yes. Please shoot more than what you're shooting right now. The other night he had 2-3 points or something. I was like, bro, this is terrible. What are we talking about?
Well, the whole reason with Kennard is he can't be a main contributor on a team. He just can't. Like, he can be a guy that the ball finds its way to and creates kind of that stretch of, and that spacing of the team. He can't be, the main guy who's getting the ball and has his hand. His usage rate does not need to be there at all. Like, he needs to be a Klay Thompson, 4 dribbles a game type player if he really wants to excel. But I know that, Nate, you've been laughing about it, but we have this. Chris and I have had that, which I'm not a huge guy on Luke Kennard either. I think that you can replace him. But thoughts on his game just in general at what he's played, because I do think that he has played better ever since, I think, those back-to-back games against Portland. Luke has actually turned around, and I think he's played much better as of late.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be your main guy. It doesn't matter who you have out there, because he's not going to take guys off the dribble. And I'll be honest, I've seen him shoot contested threes and been like, finally, and then it gets swatted every time. It's getting blocked, right? He has to have space. He's not a guy that can create space or shoot over guys. It's just not what he does. So I think we've seen a little bit more from Luke. I don't think we've seen as much as we would like to see more from Luke, but it's the same thing. He is the ultimate when he gets the other guys back type guy, because he just has to operate in that space. And so it's the same thing. He only has 3 assists tonight, but if he's passing to Desmond Bane this weekend, then I bet you that number goes up. It's just one of those things where, he's not blown the roof off with an expanded opportunity. At the same time, I think the same thing I thought before. He is awesome at the thing they need him to be awesome at, which is shooting threes. He's still shooting 45%. He started 2 for 18 from 3 or something this year, right? When the season started, and he's still second in the league or something like that in 3-point percentage. And listen, if you want to replace him with a guy like Daniel, get hated on, or Garrison Matthews, was that the one you want to replace him with?
Yeah.
Listen, if you want to throw in insert honky 3-point shooter, go for it. Like I'm not going to be mad about it because he doesn't do anything else. I mean, you see him anytime somebody gets blown by and Luke's a help defender. It's just
a wrap.
Luke's like, look at me. What do you want me to do? it's like that's every time. So it's like, if you want to do that, sure. But at the end of the day, you can't get rid of Luke Kennard and not replace somebody that shoots a 40% clip from three because you need that with the team. 38%.
Thank you. That's all. That's my argument every time, bro. Like as long as we getting somebody 37 to 38%, I don't see the big.
But it's the same thing. Who are you going to go get?
That's the issue. And honestly, and I'm going to start this conversation, even though I love your comment, King Meeks, Timu clearance of Mike Miller. I believe in you. Damn. But I will say that you can't replace a guy like Luke Kennard in the same role with Lamar Stevens. You just can't. And I'm going to go back to you, Chris. Agree or disagree with that?
See, this is the thing. Like, you trying to trip me up with that comment, and no, like Luke's role. Like I said this on our podcast, on the No Bluffing podcast. I don't know if y'all my guys, but I don't know if y'all ever seen the movie Players Club. Have y'all seen that movie before? Bernie Mac, Jamie Foxx.
Sorry, you broke up. I didn't hear you.
Did break up. The Players Club.
Players Club. Yeah, have y'all seen that?
I don't think I have.
Okay. The legend Bernie Mac played this pimp that owned a strip club, and his name was Dollar Bill. And he told the DJ, he said, all you do is spin records. That's all you do. And so with Luke, that's what I like with him. That's all you do. So when you talk about that role, I get it. Like he is one of the only guys that you can get to in that role of just all we want you to do is shoot. But Lamar gives you way more than Luke does. So I'm not saying get rid of Luke to make room for Lamar by no means, but like he just gives you more, bro. And then when we talking about at the end of a playoff game, closing the game out with guys that's gonna make winning plays, unless Luke is out there, which we don't even see him. You talking about, Klay Thompson. We don't see him run around trying to get open all the time, like Klay did. If he ain't doing that, bro, he may not even be in the lineup, especially when you can't defend. So that's been my only, argument with the Lamar thing. It's been, cool conversation to even bring it up. But yeah, man, I'm sorry, Luke.
So replace Luke with Colin Sexton. I'll be okay with that.
No. He's too small. I'm tired of the small guard. So
I knew that was coming. Daniel hates Colin Sexton.
What I will say is I don't love Luke Kennard just overall. And the main reason is it's not anything to do with Luke Kennard. It's the amount of money that he's taking away from this team. And I've said that from day one. What he actually contributes in his $15 million really diminishes his ability to flourish on this team, because what that does is that straps you and that handcuffs you a little bit from not being able to go get the players that might take you over the next level. So if you have to get rid of him to create that $15 million gap, that space, I'm okay with that, because I don't think he brings you enough winning except for the playoffs. Like if you have the playoffs when your roster does crunch down to 8 and you need spacing because Ja has the ball in his hands 80% of the time, you do need more spacing, and it obviously helps a little bit off of Des. I only look at Luke Kennard as being a contributor in the playoffs. Regular season, he's fine. I'm talking about what you really need him. Lamar, I think Lamar is jitty. In a sense, he might be better in some ways. Jitty might be better in some ways, whatever. I think they're guys that, on a good contracts, they're amazing regular season guys. They're great plug-and-play guys, and I love both of those guys. But I just don't see them contributing in the playoffs. I really don't. I don't think Lamar Stevens can be a key contributor in the playoffs, and that's really what it bugs me. I don't want Luke Kennard on the team either for the long term, because I think that there's other better players. But I wanted to do that because I thought it'd be funny. And
I got a question for you, DJ.
Yeah, what's up?
When we talk about, like, I hear shout out Gigi, he got his third start tonight. And some other guys too. I think we had the same conversation about like using this season, or at least the rest of the season, to practice the role that they're going to play next year. Mm-hmm. what makes it different, or why would we not put Luke instead of him being on the ball as much as he has been? Why are we not putting him in more of a role that he's going to be in when it's coming off screens, getting open, the role that you're going to use him in next year, basically? Why are we not doing that more with him?
So I will say that the best idea is Luke Kennard on ball as a second unit. For the simple fact is, if you can find somebody who can handle the ball, who can also be a guy who can stretch the floor, then you have somebody that you have multiple lineups that you can intertwine. So you can play Ja and Luke together. Ja comes off the court, you can still handle the ball for a 5-minute stretch, maybe with a Bane and Luke together on the floor, and then they kind of do a two-headed monster, if that makes sense. So whoever gets the ball, Bane comes down, Luke is the off guard, and then you could do the opposite on that. I think that's the best role for him on this team because Luke is not a 3 and D. He is a 3 only, 3 and no D. And so I think the best option is for him to be a guy who could be a good point guard. I just don't know if he can push the ball up the court. That's the only thing I see. If Luke could be a guy, and even Gunnar Shooter saying that Luke Kennard is a good PG, listen, he can dribble the ball, and he can get from one end towards the half-court area before he passes the ball. Yes, most NBA players can do that. I'm talking about a guy that can catch it on the run, dribble, get by two guys, then create that motion on the offense. And I think that's when a different type of point guard. But to answer your question, I think that's what they want him to be. I just don't think he'll ever be that because he can't push the ball, and that's really what I'm afraid of is that, and he's got no defense, and so that's what I see. Nate, anything else you got on that?
To Chris's point, if you can replace him with like a microwave guy off the bench that only shoots 35%, but you're getting a skill set like a Malik Monk, I'd much rather the money be used that way. It's the same thing. I don't know who you go get. Like Malik Monk's unrestricted this offseason. I have a hard time seeing the Grizzlies get him, if I'm being honest. I think he's going to get more money than we're willing to give him. I think the Kings are going to put more money than anybody to get him back. So it's like, who's that going to be? But you got to get a guy they just respect from out there, right? We can't have anybody that's like, hey, we're going to shrug off him like they did Dylan in the playoffs. So if you get a guy that's a different player type, but has the same respect and provides the same spacing for the guys that matter, but maybe can like defend a little bit and help defense, I would much rather the money be spent there instead of with Luke. It's just, what's the move? What's the move to do that?
All right, let's ask this question real quick from Ethan because I think we're getting close in on a little bit of my time. But I want to ask what Ethan's question is: who do you see as the best 9-man rotation for the next season? And would you include a centerpiece? Like you can include this and manipulate this lineup however you want. You want to take guys off the team. You want to bring in to be determined center, to be determined trade asset, to be determined draft asset. If you had a best 9, Chris, I'll let you go first on this. Who would you include in all this? And you know what? Let's start with 4. All right. So we have Ja, Jaren, Bane. Let's start. 3. Let's start with 3 because I don't know because Smart could be obviously moved. So let's the next 6. So you have Ja, Jaren, Bane for sure. Next 6.
A championship team. This is just me. I think this lineup can get you a championship if healthy. You got Ja, Bane. I'm gonna go Vince as your starting 3. Jaren starting 4. Which I'm going back and forth on that honestly because I know a lot of people is kind of talking about it's a possibility Jaren could play the 5 next year. In the ideal world, and I heard y'all talk about it too. In the ideal world, if we get a top 3 pick and we can get Mikal Bridges with some extra picks and bring him in. Put Jaren ass at the 5. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Put him at the 5. But I was just going to say, we're going to leave it like this. Jaren at the 4. Insert center, whoever it is, they're going to go get somebody. I'm going to say Marcus Smart. You had a conversation with him, and he's going to be your 6-man person or point off the bench. Gigi Jackson, Brandon Clark.
Santi Aldama.
You have 8 players right now.
Man, you almost made me cuss.
Right now, Chris has Ja, Bane, Vince, Jaren, and a center to be named later. And then the next 3 off the bench would be Smart, Gigi, and Clark in no particular order. And he's looking for a 9th player.
I'm going to say Luke.
He just took Luke over Lamar Stevens, ladies and gentlemen. I want to go to Nate now because I'm going to let that one sit.
My center's going to be Lamar Stevens. Listen, he brings the Dillon defense. That's the biggest thing I like about Lamar Stevens is you can put him out on a wing and then you put him on Cat or whoever it is. I think he's guarding Giannis that one game. I'm like, yeah, give me that dude 10 times out of 10. So to be clear, I'm in love with Lamar Stevens. I want to be on the team.
Same. Yep.
Very much. All right, so we're going Ja, Jaren, Bane. I'm going to stick with Smart. I think you close with Vince, though. I think Vince is the best fit, but you start with Smart, bring Vince off the bench, and let the game flow get you to that closing four. Same thing. You got to bring in a center. I can't do Jaren at the 5. It's not that he can't. It's that it's such a unique fit of what you need next to him to make it work. And Brandon's coming off the bench, but you need a Brandon-like player to make that work. So I'm going to go 5. My ideal guy has been Hartenstein for a while. I really like what I've seen from him since before this Knicks season. Me and Chris both liked him last year. Yeah. So I'll say Hartenstein, insert center though. Then you got Vince, Brandon. That's at 7 for me. Yeah.
Yep.
Sant. I got a feeling Sante ain't going to be here, so I got a feeling he's slowly working his way out. But again, I'm not as out on Santi as a lot of people are because I think he also looks better with these other guys. But I want my 7-footer to be able to play like a 7-footer. That's not happening. I don't know. I think I want to say Gigi. It's going to take a leap from Gigi for me, though, to be a top 8 guy. It just is. Like, what we've seen from him is awesome. And I think throwing Gigi in there is assuming he takes a leap both physically and he's going to have like a skill set leap, specifically around ball handling. I think game's got to slow down for him. That's got to get a little bit better. And I'm hesitant to do that. So right now I'm going to throw Luke in there as number 8. I feel like I'm missing somebody.
Yeah,
I'm going to say, and for now,
Stevens.
I'm going to say right now, I still think, honestly, I do. I think Santi is the 9th guy for them. If I had to throw my 9 in there, it would be Lamar. I'll throw him in there and I make GG 10, Santi on the outside till he earns his way back in.
Wow. All right. So, So Nate's going to go with pretty much the exact same lineup outside of he's going to go with Santi over Gigi, which is baffling.
Did you not hear what I just said?
I guess not.
No, I said Luke, Lamar, Gigi, Santi. Gigi's my 10th.
So you're not going with Brandon Clark?
Oh, we got
I threw Brandon Clark in there already.
Then you got too many guys. All right, so you have Ja.
I just said Gigi's my 10th.
Oh, so you went Santi over Gigi.
No, dumbass. I said I'm going 9. Luke is my 8th. Okay. Lamar's my 9th.
Lamar is your 9.
Gigi's my 10th. Santi's my 11th.
So he cheating.
Yeah, like come on now.
Why? I gave you my top 9.
We didn't know. You just kept naming people. We weren't sure.
Gigi and Santi don't exist anymore. They went to the mountains for one minute, got drunk, came back the same asshole he's always been.
Man, I never got drunk. I wish. I was trying every day, really hard. Listen, I'm down with that. But what I will say is, if this is a team that I want, I'm going to go with Ja, Bane, Vince, Jaren, and I'm going to go out and trade and get me a true 4. I'm going to go get me a stretch 3, stretch 4, kind of a big. I'm going to go get a guy that is like Bridges. And I'm going to move Jaren to that 5 spot. And I'm going to go small. And I'm still going to go get a backup center. And so my center now, just like you all had, is I'm going to move my center to the actual bench. So I can go get a guy like Drummond who can still be a rebounder. And so I'm going to have pretty much the same exact thing y'all had, especially moving Smart to the bench. And then I'm going to go with Gigi, Brandon Clark, and I'm going to go with oh, man, that's tough. Yeah, I'm getting off of Luke. F him. Let's go Lamar as my 9. Let's go Lamar as my 9. So I'm going to go Smart, Gigi, Clark, and Lamar as my 9. And then I'm going to round that out with a center, but the center's going to be on the bench. So I'll have Vince up there in the starting rotation with the center switching. So I think I might have too many guys, though. Yep, I have too many
Now
guys.
you're cheating, dickhead.
I think I have too many guys. Either way, Smart, GG, Clark. Oh, and a center. Yeah, Smart, GG, Clark, and a center off the bench. So that's what I'm going to go with. Listen, as King Mix has been hating on me, talking about I love Santi, I love Roddy. No, dude, those guys are just better than the POS that we have on the team. Most of these guys, they're just not good. Kai Jones is probably the worst NBA player you could possibly go get. Goon the shooter has been drinking since yesterday. And so, yes.
He wants Poku.
Yes. Saying we want Lamar on the roster for, yeah, absolutely. If we can get him for $2 million or less, like that's ideal. But my ideal really is going off and using Santi, who is a key contributor to this team, and Luke, and sending them out to go get a piece. I think you can package those two guys up to go get a real piece. I really do think you can. And so that's where that's who I'm sending out. And so that's why I didn't mention Luke. That's why I did not mention Santi. I'm going to go send out 2 white guys, and I'm going to go get a black guy. Is everybody okay with that? And I'm going to go watch the Real Players Club or whatever you said. Do I get my black card?
The Players Club. And watch the rated R version. Don't watch the BET or VH1 version. Watch the real version.
I got a question for you guys. And I've been thinking about it a lot lately.
Oh, God.
Do you guys think Robert Williams is worth the risk?
Hell no.
No.
Okay. Because it's in my head, I'm like, he did so well when he wasn't hurt. But then I'm like, but he's always hurt. And so I'm just like, I'm like, am I crazy for not being able to get past that? Or am I crazy for thinking that maybe we should take a flyer on him? He's still getting like $12 million a year. So it's not a cheap get. I was looking at his contract. I was wondering when he came off the books, because if he was coming off the books, you could get him for cheap. But at $12 million, I'm like, I'm wondering. I don't know, man.
No. My sneaky good pickup, if like this bare minimum, bottom of the barrel type stuff, but I ain't mad at Naz Reid, bro. Like, I know he got his little situations and things like that, but that guy can take it off the dribble. He can rebound. If you give him starting role minutes, like I think his per 36 is almost like a double averaging every single night. Stretch big to go next to Jaren. Like, I'm talking like bare minimum type move. I ain't mad at it. And he makes $12 million. If you send Luke out for him or something, make it work climbing. I ain't mad at him either.
Sure.
Well, you're saying that he's making $12 million. Yeah, he's making $12 million, then it goes 13. Then he has a player option for 25, 26 at 15. So you're not even getting to the actual Luke contract until his 3rd year, which is a player option, which I imagine you're gonna see him get to that. All right, so real quick, so I see a lot of people are actually asking the hashtag Ask Chris. Listen, I think that's great. I'm starring these for you, Nate, because I'm gonna push these off. We're gonna get to these in the second segment if that's cool with everybody. So keep getting in Ask Chris for all these, because I do think that we want to ask all of our guests, and kind of pick their brain on people that they like. That way we have some fresh ideas that are coming through here, not just mine and Nate's stupid ideas that somehow end up working somehow, some way. But I do want to talk about one thing before we get out of here, and that is Streetcars of Memphis. They are the official sponsor of the comment section. We still have yet to be named. I've been thinking, I thought on the whole drive back today, I was looking at stupid billboards trying to figure out that we're gonna keep figuring it out. I don't know if Bluff City Mafia is going to be the one, because that is really what they have over at soccer. And if anybody knows about that, that is Anthony saying he is is he the tribal chief of soccer? I believe he might be. But Streetcars of Memphis, regular maintenance to your car plus all modification needs, some speakers, lights, lifts, and wheels. They can modify them all. Right now, use the code Grizz901 and receive a $55 regular oil change or $65 for a full synthetic. A huge savings taking place down at Streetcars of Memphis. Check them out online at 901-SCM or call 901-323-3332. Schedule your oil change, maintenance, or customization service today. And the other one, Heaven's Healthy Kitchen. There is a pop-up coming up at the end of March, so make sure you stay tuned. But go over to orderhhk.com and check them out. They want to make sure that they are giving you all of that vegan, gourmet food straight to you. Heaven's Healthy Kitchen is a grassroots business that was started right here in Memphis. Chef Smith is a Memphian that promotes healthy eating and wellness. So you're looking to cook at home? Go get the cookbook now. We put that in the chat last night. I don't have the link on me right now, but the chat last night, maybe Chef Smith can put that actually in the comment section. If you're looking for it, go get it. The cookbook right off of Amazon, and you can download it today. But the monthly pop-up is March 31st, I do believe. So make sure you stay tuned for that, all the updates that are coming up. Our next show will be the 18th, and so I'll make sure I have more information completely on that, maybe some graphics. But Heaven's Healthy Kitchen, order hhk.com, serving and catering plant-based and vegan gourmet foods straight to you. You know what's next, Nate? You got it. You heard it. You know what it is. All right, Chris, Nate, we got Grizz trivia, and then I'm gonna get out of here because I've probably been here way too long. I am. If anybody knows, not to bring this completely down, my father-in-law is having emergency heart surgery tomorrow, and so that is the reason that I'm actually gonna go to bed. We're gonna get up early in the morning, and me and the family are gonna go visit him. My wife's gonna be with him pretty much the entire time. But he's having a triple bypass surgery. And so, listen, very healthy, 70, I think he's 75, 76, very good shape. From what he was told is the reason that he's doing so well, the reason that his arteries, he had 3 clogged arteries, the reason that he hasn't shown signs is because he's very healthy and good shape. So what I say to that is if he wasn't in good shape, then he probably would have been taken out just because those 3 arteries clogged and he wasn't aware. So if I could say anything, go get checked up. And so we had to end our trip a little bit early. So that's why I'm here. But you know what? I'm not going to completely dull down the moment completely for everything. We're going back to Grizz trivia. We're going to end on a happy. That's why I put that out there first. But the Grizzlies have now had 40 starting lineups so far, 40 different starting lineups so far. Tonight was the 28th or 29th, I'm not sure. That have been used just one time this season. Is that crazy? That they've only used, it's either 28 or 29. I think tonight was actually the 29th of the 40th. That blew my mind.
It's gross.
When I heard it. So instead of asking y'all how many it was, I thought we would keep it rolling with that. All right, so here's the actual trivia question tonight. So after Trey Jemison's 24 points, 11 and 13 field goals last night, I know you and Kenny talked about that, Nate, against the Wizards, which was his former team. He played approximately 1 minute for. Shame on them. He doubled his career high of 12. Trey Jamison made all of his field goals in the paint, scoring 22 of the Grizzlies' 66 paint points. So shout out to them. But my question is, I am trying to find it now. Where is it? I just lost it.
I can do it.
Nope. What is? Hold on. Okay. Sorry. So he became what different leading scorer of the season? Did you already discuss this last night, Nate?
No.
All right. So so Trey Jamison he led the team in scoring last night. Of all the many players that have led the team in scoring, what total player was he to lead the team in scoring? Because tonight was Gigi. Gigi's already led the team in scoring before. So if you had to give a number, what number, different player, would he be to lead the team in scoring this year?
How many players did they play for us this year? 29, 28?
There's been 40 different starting lineups. I think there's been 30 plus different players. I'm not exactly positive. But he will be this number different player to lead the team in scoring this year.
I want to say 13.
Yeah. I was like, lucky number 13 is what I'm thinking.
I thought it was lucky or unlucky.
It's lucky.
Is it?
It's unlucky for sissies. There we go.
Oh, God.
Family friendly.
Ethan Porter said 14th player. Do you think he's right?
I'm gonna go. Screw it. I was gonna say 13. I'm gonna go 18.
God damn.
I know. Listen, last time I thought I was shooting way high, and it was like double what I thought. So it was like, I'm like, there's no winning this anymore.
All right, well, so nobody is correct in the chat, but one of our guys got it.
It's Chris. It's 13.
It is not Nate with 18. It is the 13th different player to lead the team in scoring this season, and so shout out to you. It is not all 40 players, King Meeks. It is just 13. And so, listen, it's been a crazy seating. I thought I'd share that because I thought it was a good.
You have the names?
I don't, but I know it was Ja, Bang, Jaron. I know it's Gigi, Trey. That's 5. Santi was one time, I think. That's 6.
Zaire, Jake.
Zaire. Was Jake one of them? That's 8.
I counted Jalen Noel. I feel like he led one game, but I may be wrong.
That's what I'm sort of thinking. I was like, maybe?
Vince, he definitely was a leader one time.
Was he?
Yeah, he been balling, bro.
I think Luke had that game. He hit all those threes.
Yeah.
Luke.
Yeah. I don't know.
Bismack.
I'll try to get that answer for you after I get out of here, but I'll check it out. But yeah, man, it's been a crazy season so far. The funny thing is like there's been people that keep stepping up, and that's been the fun part of it. But in the end, the Grizzlies lose 110 to 98 to the Charlotte Hornets, being swept by the Hornets, I believe, this season, which is disgusting. I wanted to bring in a question about that is what team in the NBA has not swept the Grizzlies, but I couldn't do the actual math on the ride home in time. So that's what I did. All right, but I'm going to get out of here. These two guys are going to be hanging out with you after this. But Chris, everybody's bringing in the questions for you and asking all their Ask Chris questions. So make sure if you have a chance, go ahead and put in hashtag Ask Chris, and then put in your question. That way Nate can see them. That way we get through these. But guys, listen, thank you for joining, Chris. I appreciate that. I'm going to get out of here, and so hopefully that everybody stays and kind of keeps hanging with us. But we'll be right back after this quick break.
Yeah, Vince Williams is the closest thing we've seen to Tony Allen. 100% Tony Allen. I think that has been really thrown around very loosely in a kind of just joking manner for a lot of people, because everybody for the love that we have for TA, such a big factor in this franchise. We throw that thing around. We throw that the grandson thing around lightly because it's kind of funny on Twitter, but he is the closest thing to Tony Allen that has been so far in a Memphis uniform. And I think that's very, D'Anthony Melton might have been the other, but to your point, that's what made me think about this, is that the fearlessness that he plays with, that's what Tony Allen played with. He did not care who you were. He doesn't see a name on that.
Tune in to The Daily Grind with Mark King and Luke Hatmaker at 1 p.m. every Monday through Friday, live on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the show. I'm not tired. You're tired. But we're back here with Chris Ingram of No Bluffing Show. And now we get to actually have fun because Daniel left. And, that game was not fun tonight. The Grizzlies have a whole lot of work to do. A whole lot of work to do. It's part of the roster, but there's a lot of work left to do. And speaking of work, you know what I hate is yard work. But you know who doesn't? Is Pews. From flower shops to commercial landscape maintenance, Pews has been around for 30-plus years servicing the Mid-South. But did you know that Pews also does residential lawn care? Pews Residential Spray can take care of all your weed control and fertilization needs. So you want to create that perfect weed-free lawn? Then call Pews Residential Spray today for a free estimate, 901-633-2118, and let them know the Grizz 901 crew sent you. And remember, with Pews, small company values. Man, after that game, some of these games leave me hoping someone will bring me some weeds, not taking out of my yard, because I could use it to help me get through these games. But Chris, I was halfway going to just ask you about NFL free agency when we got here, but Daniel came and we actually talked about basketball. So I know you're a Broncos fan, so it's kind of hard for you right now, just clearing cap space left and right. But got a lot of fun stuff going, man. We got a bunch of these things in here, but I do want to bring up one question, and we're only going to one guy. It can be anywhere. Good, bad, in between. I want to ask you the same question I asked Kenny last night. and just go with it. Can be someone completely random or the strongest feelings you have about a guy. Who is one player on the Memphis Grizzlies roster, other than obvious ones like Gigi and Vince, you've got some really strong feelings about? And again, it could be really good, really bad, or just kind of like, hey, I feel like this guy really should get the roster spot, other than some of the obvious ones.
Just one.
Just one.
Get Santi off my team, bro.
I knew it. I was like, is he going to bring the Santi hate back after last night? You're in the chat trying to get me riled up.
get some. So you know, back before Grizz 901 turned into a post-game show, back when they would just, twice a week uploads to OGs, if you know, you know. I did a couple guest spots with you and Daniel here and there, and my feelings about Santi this rookie year, I ain't cut him no slack, bro, like at all. I was like, I'm out on this dude, like the hype I don't get. And then he goes to summer league, and I was like, he was getting easy around the basket, points. I wasn't really thrilled, but he had high point total, so it was cool, I guess. And he shut me up in his second season. He really did. Like, he played great team ball. He played his role amazing. I had to take I had to take it back. I had to eat my words. Which I wanted to do with Dylan Brooks, but I couldn't. I tried. So I owned up to it. I said, "Hey, Santi, I had you messed up, bro. My bad. I didn't know your game was like that." But he comes out this year, bro, and it's Dylan Brooks 2.0 to me. Like, it's too much go to hell ball. And I understand people say, like, he's put in a position where, like, he feel like he needs to shoot. I was just having a conversation with my dad earlier today about Santi. We were talking about the Grizzlies, but Santi came up and he was like, he feels like he probably is the person that, since ain't nobody else shooting it, we got to steal Luke's dog to get him to shoot. We might as well put it up himself. And it's like, well, who's telling y'all to do this, though? Like, I heard the same excuses with Dylan. Like, he's the only one that's going to shoot. Like, who's telling him that? Who's giving him the green light to do this stuff? So,
well,
yeah,
fair is fair, and Dylan Brooks is playing with John Morant and Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson, and Santi's playing with Jake LaRavia and Jordan Goodwin and Ty Jerome. Like, it's different. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I do think Santi, if you get this roster back around him, I think Santi looks a lot more like he did in his second season. I feel really strongly about it. Same time, we need bigs. And right. I said this again and again and again last night with Kenny on the show. It's great to have a 7-footer that can shoot. The benefit of that is you have a 7-footer who can shoot, who plays like a 7-footer. And Santi, it's almost like the reality of what people would trash Powell about.
It's worse.
You know what I mean? Like, people would trash Powell saying he's too Euro, he's trying to be soft. And I'm like, man, Santi's actually always Euro stepping. He's actually always pulling a move. Like, Santi, he throws him down off wide open alley-oops or cuts to the basket. He's not bullying anybody. And again, you don't have to bully people. You don't have to just sit there and be pushing people around like an Andre Drummond would, like a Steven Adams would. Right. But, man, I just don't see the size. Now, same thing, I feel like he doesn't fit the way you'd want him to fit. I do feel really strongly he looks better next year, and he looks a lot more like year 2. So, like, I'm not completely out on Santi. Like, I know you are, like a lot of people are, but at the same time, man, I there's no single person on the team I've been more disappointed with this season. Because it's the same thing, talk about Luke not taking advantage of his opportunity. I'm like, Santi had every chance in the world taking advantage of this, and he's a guy I think should have more. So, I was wondering what direction you're going to take it. I knew the answer, but I also know you were in the show last night hanging out with us in the comments, and I thought you might take it somewhere else.
It don't change. Hey, I know you said one. I ain't going to go into a spiel. On the flip side of that, if somebody I'm positive on, it is Stevens, bro. And I'll just leave it at that.
Of course. Yeah. If you're not in on Lamar Stevens at this point, I don't know what you're watching. Now, I'll give one just a little bit different from last night, because I said I was excited about this, and then we got to see it tonight. I feel really strongly that Scottie Pippen Jr. is a backup point guard in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he came back from the back injury and immediately looked like a true point guard, much more than anybody else has been filling that role. I loved what he was showing before he went out with the injury, and for him to come back from a back injury, and back injuries are no joke, and immediately fill in that role, I've seen enough. I've seen enough that if they want to put him on some kind of minimum contract next year, not much money at all, but you have yourself a true, like, backup point guard / third guard that there's no real drop off with.
Right.
I'm in. I'm in on that. But
Yeah, me
that's
too.
enough out of us. That was my question. I was planning on asking that before Daniel decided he was going to come back from the mountains early. So we're going to get here. Playboy Danny has asked this question like 7 times. So I'm going to bring it up first because, squeaky wheel gets the grease. Hashtag Ask Chris. Draft's coming up for the Memphis Grizzlies. They got this top 6 to 8 pick. Most likely looking like they're going to be in that 6th spot unless something happens good or bad in the lottery. If you can choose from these 3 of Rob Dillingham, Dalton Connect, or Donovan Clingan, who are you taking?
If I got to choose between them 3 and I got to use the pick,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go Clingan. I like what I see from him. Like me starting to actually watch his games, like I've been seeing highlights all season, for the most part, like we see with the rest of these guys. But I've been actually tuned into his games. Like the guys that I think the Grizzlies may actually, pick, I've been trying to actually watch real game minutes to see how they do, not when it's just the highlight type stuff. And I like what I'm seeing from him, bro. Like on his highlights, for whatever reason, his foot speed look a lot slower than what it is in real game time. He can recover defensively. The dude can pass. He's tall and lanky as hell. Can pass out of the post, out of the from the free throw spot. Like if he gets the ball, sets the screen, gets the ball, holds it up. Yeah, he got great court vision. I like what I see from Clingan, bro. I really do.
Yeah.
And so if they decide to keep the pick and he's in that range, if they don't trade back, get him. I'm not mad at that. The other 2, Dalton Connect is great. Like he's amazing, but where he gonna play?
Bench score. I have been so in on this, and I do not watch college basketball. Notoriously do not watch college basketball. Like I grew up, I became a fan of basketball going to the Pyramid, watching the Tigers play, but I'm an NBA guy now. To be honest, I barely have time to watch these Grizzlies games. So I'm trying to make time to watch these college games. It's just not happening. But I text one of my buddies who is like a massive Tennessee fan, and he's actually my friend, which tells you he's a good guy because I'm not usually friends with Tennessee fans. They're not my type of people typically. But I text him and I'm like, okay, I got to be honest. I'm hearing all the hype about Dillingham, about Reed Shepherd. I'm hearing all these guys. I'm like, every time I look up, Dalton Connect's dropping 40 on someone in the SEC. Is he like, am I missing something about him being not awesome? He's like, no, dude, he is exactly as awesome as you think he is. And so when you tell me you got a guy that he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's long for his height and he is a big dude, and he's dropping 40 in college night after night in SEC play, I'm like, why wouldn't you take that guy? And I had Sean on the show last week, and I was asking him about this, and I was not in on a big, and I said, you know what? I'll take a big as long as you tell me I'm not relying on a rookie center next to John Morant and Jaren Jackson and Desmond Bane, because you need a guy that's just going to do his job and be established. I don't want any growing pains. It's time to win.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with drafting a big if you're not relying on him. But I'm like, but why wouldn't you just go get one of these scorers, where it's a Reed Shepherd or a Dillingham or a Connect? And you get these big dudes that can shoot and can score. It's the same thing. It's why we love Gigi. So, man, Gigi obviously is massive. He's not just big. He's massive wing who can score. But, man, getting a big guy like Connect would be awesome. And then if you get either one of the Kentucky guards at this point, you need microwave scoring off the bench. It's the same thing I said about Luke. So, I have no issue. I have no issue with the Donovan Clingan. At the same time, like when I see a guy dropping 40 consistently in college, or 30 plus, I should say, he's probably only dropped 40 twice. Yeah. I'm like, why would you pass up on that guy? It just feels like something everybody's going to look back and be like, what were they thinking not drafting that guy? So we'll see. And as saying in the chat, it's always good to appear longer than your length.
Absolutely.
Yep. Bringing back the girth conversation. Just
turn them lights off.
Listen, Grizz not a one after dark is when Daniel's not around and we talk about things like length and girth and, just good basketball, good quality family basketball.
Yeah.
All right.
Question for you real quick.
Yeah.
What has the Grizz front office given you any type of inkling that they're going to go get a scorer type guy?
Oh, I mean, it's not something they've done.
Yeah. That's my only thing.
They're going to move back in the draft. They're going to trade that pick. But if they're picking 6 to 8, like, go get it. And at this point, it's a little bit of, if you can't move that pick, and here's why I feel better about it this year. If you can't move that pick to go get a guy that's either a wing scorer or more likely a true big that you can put next to Jaren and can contribute.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the need. That's the need. Unless, I mean, if they drafted a center, I could see them doing it. It just makes no sense to me. You have a better chance committing to Jaren at the 5 if you're going to do that, in my opinion. So there's a little bit of, if they can't trade that pick, what else are you going to do? Like, that's the need. That's what you need, right? Even if you talked about that 9 we had earlier, that's a solid 9. Who's the scorer, the true scorer out of that? Like, in theory, Gigi, if he's able to take that leap, again, it's not anywhere out of the realm of possibility he can. But you could still use another bench scorer. Everybody could use some scoring off the bench. And the Grizzlies, especially if you sign like a Lamar Stevens, you got Marcus Smart, Vince, Jaren. Defensively, I'm just not worried outside of the 5. So You're right. I'm like, I don't know what else you have to do, right? It just doesn't make much sense. So you're right, but I'm going to live in my fantasy world until I don't have to anymore.
I'm with you, brother.
First one, in King Meeks. I want to bring this up because I think we might already have the answer. Hashtag ask Chris, who do we need for a backup point guard?
I think they're on the roster already. Unless you, like we said, unless you go get a Dillingham or a Reed Shepherd, I think they're there.
Even then, I don't think those guys are the point guards.
Yeah,
I think they're playing more of a 2-guard role if you go get those guys. So I'm with you. I think you kind of have Smart playing that role. Derrick Rose, who I'm assuming will still be here next year.
I hope so.
You got guys like a Scottie Pippen Jr. So I think the options are already there. This is a good one. I think I'm trying to choose one of these two. I'm gonna go with, because I already know what you want to do with that one. So I'm gonna go with this one. Hashtag ask Chris, with a mention of Nas, what about Obi Toppin and Patrick Williams as possible options? High upside guys, but low side guys, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm cool on both of them. I like Patrick. Don't get me wrong. Pat Williams is like a sneaky deal, like still a second round picking one of them young dudes just to, maybe clear some space or something like that. I'm not mad at Pat Williams. Obi, I'm just like, he's Brandon Clark light, and that's not saying a lot because we know BC is, for all intents and purposes, I love BC's fit with the team, but when you're just talking about overall skill set, like outside of being a switchable defender, catching lobs, I mean, Obi is in light of that, and I don't want that. I'm cool.
I just don't think they fit the need. At the end of the day, they just don't fit the need for the team, right? You got to give something up to get those guys. I don't think they fit the need. And then we got one more question that I think will happen to a game preview, because I've been skipping game previews. They've not been much fun. But with the Desmond Bane news, I think we'll have a little bit more fun. From Wayne, I actually really, really like this question. Hashtag ask Chris, what was your intro to hoops/Grizz? So I guess if they're one and the same, you can give that. But otherwise, what's the basketball as a whole and then Grizz on top of that?
Man, basketball as a whole is actually kind of dope. My first time, my dad, he played basketball and stuff like that. But my, going to different gyms and watching them hoop, things like that when I was growing up. But me personally, as far as I can remember anyway, I want to say my first time like really actually hooping like that and getting into basketball was Penny Hardaway. He had a camp with Andre Turner. I can't remember what school or high school it was. But I remember going to, I got a picture. It's an embarrassing ass picture of brother Penny and Andre Turner. And just got to be in that camp. I think it was like a 3-day camp. And it was just dope at a young age. I was like, I had the glasses with the straps on them, looking like a real nerd out there. So my glasses wouldn't fall out of my face, bro. It was terrible.
Jalen Smith.
Yeah, but worse. But it was just dope to get around them guys. Obviously, like me being that young and being introduced to it at that level. I watched it on TV a few times, but like actually getting around actual like basketball players, that was dope to see. Matter of fact, I want to say the championship game we had, I went against Trey Draper. It's weird that I remember him at that age because I was probably like 7 or 8, maybe. But him. Shout out Coach Johnson, RIP, was a Memphis coach legend. He was there doing some stuff. His son was there. It was a lot of, like, when I look back on it, bro, it was a lot of hoopers in that gym that Like we was just super young, and I wasn't a hooper like that. Like these dudes went on to like play, you know, collegiate basketball and things like that.
Yeah.
But it was definitely just a dope experience. And as far as the Grizzlies, I remember when they first came, my dad, he was a FedEx employee at the time, and I want to say well, actually, that don't even make no. That was the form. So I'm thinking about something totally different. But we went to a game, and man, had some amazing seats. We was probably like 3 rows behind the scores bench or whatever. And it was, you know, first year they were here, and I was I didn't have a favorite team because I was young at the time, but just them being in the city, I was like, this is my squad. And so through the ups and downs, bro, literally have never left, and won't leave until they leave, I guess, you know. Hopefully that never happens.
Knock on, I don't have a wood desk in here anymore. Sorry, I should probably said desk faster than I did. But I don't have any kind of wood to knock on tonight, so I'm not going to do that. But no, man, that's awesome. And that's weird how you kind of get to where you are, right? It's kind of a weird question when you start looking at it and thinking it out. It's like, I'm so diehard on the Grizz now, but the way I got into basketball was the Tigers. We went to like every Tigers game. And that was when like they had a little Pizza Hut personal pizzas in the pyramid. I got those things every game we went to. I was kidding. That was like my favorite part of the game. But massive Tigers fan. I was a massive Shaq fan. I was not a Grizzlies fan until, I'm not afraid to admit this, I'm not an OG Grizz fan. The Grizz came to Memphis and I was not all in. I was like, nah, man, Tigers all the way. Which is funny how far we've come. Now I'm always like, what are Tigers fans mad about this week? But I got into the Grizz because there was I was trying to date this girl in high school, and she wanted to go to the playoffs against the Thunder. And it was that series that went all the way, and it was that crazy series against the Thunder. And I don't know the last time I'd been to a Grizz game, but I went and I was up there, and next thing I know, I could care less about the girl I was there with. I was just all in, and I've been hook, line, and sinker ever since. I've ruined laptops trying to pirate. Wait. I've ruined laptops with some streams that didn't work super great, is what I meant to say. You know, some certain websites when I was a kid.
Talk about
limitations is up on anything that I could be referring to. But man, I was crazy all in after that, and so it's weird to look back and be like, oh, I went to all the Tigers games in the pyramid, and now I'm a huge Grizz fan. I always do root on the Tigers. Like I like to poke fun, and either way, I kind of win because it's either the Tigers win or my timeline's melting down. So I have fun either way. But it's all Grizz now from now on. So that's a good question, Wayne. I really like that. That's a fun question. So anything else, Chris, you want to talk about? We're getting to a game preview though. Any kind of just general stuff? I know there's some actually. Nah, I'm going to skip that one because I know who you want, actually. That's a good question, but Chris has been a big Hartenstein guy for forever. The question was, who do you want, Hartenstein, Claxton, someone else in free agency or draft? So,
bro, I'm switching. Would you believe? I'm switching. Like, I guess my center situation is changing like I changed draws, bro. It's been Hartenstein for a long time, right?
Okay.
Like that year that we re-signed Tyus, I was like, why y'all just didn't go get us?
Yeah, bring up the question. I should have brought it up the first time. My bad.
Yeah, that like I've been on hard. You know this. We talked about this for a lot, like me and you both. With him having this Achilles injury though, like he's managing it. It's not something that like he's playing through it. He's taking time off and things like minute restrictions and things like that. I got PTSD, bro. When I found that out, I was like, we already dealt with this with Steve-O, and then that's not even counting like the injuries that we dealt with this year. Like, bro, I want to get to a freaking conference finals and have just a shot to get to a finals. Yeah. And if we don't have a center that, I don't care if it's matchup based or whatever, if we don't have him healthy, I don't see it. And so with that considered, I was on the Claxton train for like 2-3 weeks.
Then you heard the net spaces.
No, I didn't even have to do that. Like just watching him play us 2 times. Like somebody that's playing uninspired basketball like that. Like Claxton, he looked good. Don't get me wrong. He looked good in spurts. But then you realize how really skinny this dude is. And then you realize that, well, to pay him 15 to 20, maybe even more million that what they saying he may command. I don't know if he gets that or not, but we talk about Luke being a luxury. Like if a dude is just going to be basically a taller Brandon Clark, do I want to pay him 20, 25 million? So
Right.
I'm at a point now, like I said, I'm entertaining the idea, and I'm hoping that it's something that can happen, that you trade that first pick to go get, obviously, Mikal. You know, you can get that first pick. They can get 2-3 more picks if they wanted to. I don't see how they turn that Luke back. Even, you know, I don't know why they would do it, but, you know, get Marcus Smart. I don't care. Like, you got Vince Williams and Mikal Bridges, 2 wings that can rebound and help Jaren. They'll figure that out. But that's I'm looking at that, or it really just comes down to Drummond. I even said Nick Richards. Like, me and Sane, the 4, me and Sane have been on like this. Same.
Yeah.
But even Nick Richards, like, it started. If they get him, I'm not mad, but I just think if it ain't Drummond, or like I said, I'm starting to entertain the idea of Naj Reid next to Jaren just because he's a floor spacing big. If it ain't that, bro, I don't know. I really have no clue. So it's fluid. What Stephen A. Smith say, it's fluid.
Well, and I even forgot that the Hartenstein injury was an Achilles, and that really ruined the rest of my night. Because that's the guy who I like. I'm like, well, I'm like, which Knicks center can you get? Take that one. Doesn't matter to me which one. But Drummond's a guy who I think we all like. I'm very curious as to the money Drummond's going to get. I don't think it's going to be out of the Grizz price range, no matter what it is. I think there are a lot of people who see he's making like $3 million this year and are thinking of him as like a $3 to $6 million guy. And I'm like, I got bad news. That's not going to be what he ends up being, in my opinion. But it's interesting, man. And the reason I'm okay with a risk with a guy like Hartenstein, and the same reason I like Drummond, is I do think what Daniel talked about earlier, you have a bit of a death lineup that does include Jaren at the 5. And I know, like, I'm so hesitant on Jaren at the 5, but when you talk about Jaren, Ja, Dez, Marcus, Vince,
it's tough.
It's a death lineup. It really is. It does have all the markings of a death lineup, right? And then insert BC in there at the same time. Like, there's a lot of good things that can happen with that lineup. So at that point, you got guys that can come in here and start talking about like replacing that kind of rebounding and stuff that you need. At the same time, I do like a guy that can come in here and then all of a sudden just rebound and set screens and fill in the role that you need. Right. That's the biggest thing for me. So let me see. Let me decline that call. Swear to God. She calls me every night during the show, man. I better chill out.
No.
But I do still think I like a Hartenstein type thing. Drummond would be awesome. I'm very interested to see what kind of market there is for him, because he could just decide to go somewhere else. Yeah. Right. And that could be something. But interesting. I really thought you would still be on the Hartenstein train. But I guess, like I said, I forgot that it was an Achilles injury. So
scarred, bro. Scarred.
Yeah, man. It's the same thing as like Robert Williams. I think we are the main fan base throughout the NBA that's like, don't bring us an injured guy. Like we know we've seen what's happened. It's like Robert Williams, in theory, at $10 million is a great deal until you remember the injury history. It's like, God, dude. So that being said, if he ends up being healthy for the Blazers all year next year, I'll be like, why didn't we get Robert Williams? That. All right, so we'll wrap this up here pretty quick. I do want to talk about it a little bit because we got some really fun news about both Desmond Bane and I believe Brandon Clark, both assigned to the Hustle and then recalled to the Grizzlies today when we're listed as doubtful in the injury report, which makes me think we're going to see them sooner than later. Chris, they got this game coming up this weekend against the Thunder. It's going to be a bit of a hopefully they don't get clapped like they did again type game. But if they get these reinforcements with Desmond Bane and Brandon Clark, and obviously looking at Jaren and Vince getting back too, do you think we actually see a much more competitive game with those guys, or you think it's going to be kind of a throwing them back in, it's going to take a minute?
Bro, Dez playing, he going to compete. That's the one dude, like when he out there, I'm just never worried. Like, yeah, the season, you know what I'm saying, it started how it did. But every game, even that we lost, like it was very few games that we lost that we were just getting blown out early. And see, we just was losing little key minutes at the end, bro. And you know how I feel about the person at the helm. We ain't got to get in there tonight, as I always be ready to do. But it's just like if he's out there, bro, especially with him wanting to come back, he's not gonna come out there to half-ass and risk another injury. Like he's gonna go full force, I think, maybe on a minutes restriction. But we're gonna see a lot of fly by king. We're gonna see a lot of stopping on the dime threes. We're gonna see a lot of downhill. He's not coming back playing if he's not gonna play his game. So that's gonna get them guys definitely. I feel like a jolt of energy, and I'm excited to see Gigi and Trey Jemison, just a big like I'm excited to see these guys next to him. Vince, I ain't seen him with him in a long time. So and you talking about BC, like I just want to see where he at.
Yeah. Well, and I think both those guys come back in and compete. The one thing I do want to say is like it's gonna give you something to look forward to. Like it gives you something to want to watch. Like my sister's coming in town this weekend. I'm like, oh, whatever, I got to miss a Grizzlies game. Oh no, I don't get to see Jordan Goodwin play. But at this point, I'm like, hey, we're going to put the game on while we're eating dinner if Desmond Bane's playing, right? He gives you something to want to tune in for. I do not want to see people get mad when he only plays 20 minutes or whatever it is. Like that's what's happening. And by the way, it's the right call. Like I don't want to see people get mad about that. The one hesitation I have is that BC's coming back from an Achilles injury. He hadn't played basketball in a year plus. There's going to be rust for that. And Desmond Bane has been a guy who has tried to find his every season, right? He's not a guy that comes out just blazing out of the gates. His shooting usually takes a minute to pick up. It usually has to get that. So he's going to come out and compete, and he's going to play hard, and I think he's going to be great. It would not surprise me at all if he has to knock some rust off. So we'll see that. At the same time, that's the same thing we talk about. Gigi Jackson gets to now catch the ball on a court that has Desmond Bane and Jaren on it, and like actual like NBA stars, right? So
spacing.
Yeah, it's going to be fun for everybody to be able to play in that environment. So I'm super excited about it. If I had to guess, I got a feeling they still probably drop the game on Saturday, even if those guys play. Be honest, I would. We do have a betting market that comes in and watches Daniel. I don't know why they would watch me. I do nothing but lose money. But I don't want to encourage anyone to put too much money where they want. But hey, last time Kenny said to put your paycheck on the Grizz and they beat the Bucks. So maybe you should. We'll see what happens. But any thoughts about that game if those guys play? You think they have an actual shot to win, or you think, hey, it's fun, but they're probably going to drop it?
Yeah, I mean, they came out fat, bro, because they competed last night. And the guys they playing with, like, those ain't every night guys. You know, they can get up for games. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jemison, the old team, he had a reason to get up yesterday and just bow them guys and get to his spots and have a hell of a game. And I'm loving what I'm seeing from him lately. You can tell he's starting to really get comfortable a little bit. Give him a little rest. I think with them just having the excitement to have one of their leaders back on the floor, I can see it where they come out. And I mean, them guys, they play up, bro. They definitely play up, and they have already lost to them a couple times. And I'll just be honest, I'm sick of this fugazing that's going on with OKC myself. Like, it's just, you talking about T-Move, you talking about DH Gate, Grizzlies. Like, it's just, bro, it's so irritating. Like, they are the wackest, lamest crew to do. And I love Jalen Williams, the one with the had the hair. Santa Clara. The other one got a weird body, and he just lame and weird to me. But now they all just weird and lame. SGA's weird and lame. Like, I would love it.
He said he had a weird body. You can't say that.
Bro, he got childbearing hips as a grown man. Like, that is terrible.
Oh, man. Him and Grant Williams both.
Oh, my God. He just like
Dylan Brooks light.
I can't say the word I was going to say because we're on air, so I'll be quiet. He's a tall something, though. I'll be quiet. Yeah, it would make me feel great for Desmond Bane to come over there and just give it to SGA and them guys.
Dude.
I can't wait. Saying yes, they are ass, bro. I cannot wait for them to get humiliated in this playoffs. Them in Minnesota, I can't wait for them to get just thrashed, bro, in the first round. Both of them.
Man, either one of those teams, I feel like they end up playing like the Lakers type thing. It could be bad news bears for either team, man. That could be so brutal for them. But nah, man, I'm with you on pretty much every point across the board. It'd be a blast. It's been it's been interesting watching that play out this year. Remember when everyone hated the Grizzlies? And we're like, why does everyone hate us? And then you watch this and you're like, I know why they hated us. It's like,
but at least we did it in a cool way. Like, back in high school, you like the dude that was cool or the group of guys that was cool. You hated on them because they was getting all the girls and they was getting into all the parties and stuff like that. Like these dudes, like they the rejects. Like they the dudes that like they looked up to the upperclassmen, so they tried to be that when the upperclassmen left. And it's like y'all just ain't doing it right, bro. Like y'all not.
There's going to be a lot of the Jared Allen. I wasn't ready for how bright the lights were, if I had to guess when he gets a flash. Now, listen, they might bring this clip up, in which case, thanks for taking us viral, OKC. But we'll see what happens in that case. Either way, I'm excited for that game. And I do have, to close us out, a fun Trey Jamison mini Grizz trivia for you. Trey Jamison has 12 rebounds over the past 2 games. How many defensive rebounds does he have in total in those games? 12 total rebounds. How many defensive rebounds?
5.
2. He has 5 offensive rebounds in each game. He is becoming a putback king. He's just becoming a yoked, can absolutely destroy any human being that crosses his path, Brandon Clark. Getting the ball, putting it back in the rim. So, I just like to bring up Trey whenever we can because it's a guy who I was a little bit worried about. Still haven't seen enough out of him, but it's really good to see him come on. I think everybody wants that guy to succeed. So really awesome to see him doing well.
My bad, bro. My bad. It just go down to the conversation we used to have all the time about the end of biz guys like last year. And I always try to preface that conversation and be like, it's not that we're trying to pick who's the better, worst player. Like that's not the conversation. You just need to move guys out of the way so that you can get serviceable backup guys on your roster. And when you're talking about Jamison being your 3rd, 4th backup center, whatever you want, you're talking about same thing with Scotty. Like, give me them dudes versus the little wings and stuff we've been arguing about the last 2-3 years. Like, that's what I've been talking about. So shout out to them.
Well, and it's saying we don't ever root against players, and we would not have any of the vitriol towards a Jake, towards a Zaire, towards a Santi if we didn't think that spot could go to someone that could just do better for the team and fit better as a championship piece. So, I don't know. Sometimes it feels like it might get a little personal, but we promise that it is not. At the end of the day, these are all human beings trying to do their best. Their best sometimes is still just straight trash. But that's all good. Chris, thanks for joining us tonight, man. Appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us for a long time. So thanks for joining the show, man.
For sure, my brother. Anytime.
All right. And thanks to the comment section. You guys are what makes this puppy go. Appreciate you coming in here every night. Again, everybody that's in here is earning your fan card this year. If you're coming in here for an hour and a half with us after this game against the Charlotte Hornets, you're a fan. So appreciate you being in here. That's going to be all for us tonight. We will most likely not be back for that Saturday game with the Desmond Bane return, Brandon Clark return, possibly being there. We might. We'll see. But otherwise, we will be back Monday against the Kangs. And until then, be nice. Tell your friends. See you later.